You notice that there is a red colored counter on top of my mine field. It says 10 right now. Well, what it means is that there are 10 mines yet to be discovered inside this mine field. So let's just start playing this. Okay, hoping something will open up like big. Okay, so this is okay, but not much. Right, let's keep playing this. Okay, this was really good. Nice, and lots of things opened up now. Now I know that this is a mine. Notice the moment I select it, it becomes 9 over there. This is not a mine. Well, this must be a mine. This is not a mine. This must be a mine. You notice as I play this, I've got 3 mines discovered, and I have hence, a counter of 7 over here. The counter is decreasing continuously. This is makes it 6. This makes it 7. Okay, so this is not a mine. Now let's say what happens if I start randomly playing this. Let's say I just go and flag all of these as a mine. Notice the moment I flag something, it is in fact treated as a mine. In fact, this counter becomes negative. However, clearly this is not the right selection. As I unflag, I come back to, wherever I had, let's say, wherever the right number was, right? So 5 are on the 5 flags, and hence this number is 5. So basically, this counter is sort of telling us how many mines have been flagged. But apart from that, the game rules are exactly the same. Let's just see this once again. If I, let's say, reset this, again goes back to 10. Let's say I just go and flag a few mines randomly. Now notice as I flag them, the counter will indeed decrease. However, that doesn't mean much. Let's say I try opening this up. I hope that something will open up from here, one of these. Of course, this is just pure luck. So I flag a lot of mines because there's something I want to illustrate to you. If I, okay, so I'm very unlucky, nothing is opening up. Okay, so this time it did open up. You notice that two of the mines which I thought were, two of the labels which I thought were mines, actually more of them. For example, these or these which I thought were mines have been opened up, which means they are not mines clearly. These cells have been disabled. And hence I noticed that, the counter has again gone back to 8. So it's kind of like telling you how many mines there are more to be discovered. And this becomes quite useful when you are playing the game. So you can keep track of what's going on, especially when there are lots of mines. And that happens when the board is, let's say, large. So this is what we are going to build in this video, which is what I call the flag counter. We are enhancing the Minesweeper project from the YByte Python curriculum, available at www.ybyte.in. As before writing any code, let's just take a step back and understand what this feature really does. So basically, the flag counter keeps track of how many mines have been flagged. Now notice this is a decreasing counter, starts at 10 in our case because number of mines, so what I meant is n mines, it's at 10 and keeps going down every time a new mine is clicked. But the moment a mine is unflagged, right or wrong, the counter increases again. Once we reset, the counter goes back to 10, let's say n mines. And if a flag cell opens up, which means it's no longer a mine, no longer enabled either, the flag counter is incremented. Otherwise, the whole game can become inconsistent, and that can be very confusing, right? So basically, important to keep in mind that, look, this counter is just an indication. Game rules do not depend on the counter value, but counter nonetheless is quite nice help to the player. So let's build this. Starting from, the first act that we're going to do is to create a label which sits, let's say, next to the reset button. We can use the concept of frames for this purpose, and thereafter we'll write some code to kind of keep updating the label in different. So I get back to my code over here. Remember, I had this reset button. Now you recall reset button was on this control frame, so I'm just going to use the same frame for, let's say, for placing the mines label. So I just go and say, well, look, let's place something called the mines, say mines label, and this is, well, tk dot label, and I'm going to put this on the so I just called control frame over here. So I just say control control frame. So this is on the control frame. The text is equal to, say, str n mines, because remember it starts with all the mines there. And for font, I just go and put, I mean, again, you can put anything really, but let's say I keep a simple font here, say Times New Roman, say size of, say, 12. Again, this is just your choice. I give a little bit of pad X here to, let's say, 5, so make it a little bit, let's say, wide. Width can be, say, 3. Again, we can set this thing, and I can center justify this, right? So these are all the options, that lots of options on the label basically. So okay, here I have to be careful. Justify is equal to, let's say, center. And just for the visual, let's say, part of it, I'm going to set the background color to say red. Now I want to place this label adjacent to my my button. So I'm going to convert my button also to the grid methodology. Now remember, this grid is acting on the specific frame. I'm going to just say, well, row equals to 0, column equals to 1 for the for the button. But for the label, I'm going to change this to, well, this will be, say, mines label, and this will be row 1 and column 0, because I want the label to appear on the left side of the column of the button. So now when I run this piece of code, I see a label over here, which is exactly what I wanted. Shows 10 because, well, there are 10 mines in the in my game right now. Now let's work on giving this this label the dynamic behavior that we wanted. So remember that, as we flag binds, this counter will decrease. As we unflag binds, the counter will increase. So that's, let's say, number one. So, I just get onto my right click function. This is where I'm flagging or unflagging. Well, I must first figure out what is the current value in the label, increment or decrement it. It's kind of like what we did in a calculator project. We would first read out what the label is and adjust the value, right? So I just create a new variable called, say, mines done, and mines done is, well, mines say mines label dot c get. So basically I get what is the right value right now. I read the text, and if I'm converting, let's say, a non-mine to a mine, well, this number must be decreased, right? So I'm just going to say, look, mines label dot configure, say, text is equal to, uh, so I'll have to do a bit of conversion here. So I first convert the Minestone uh, into an integer, subtract 1 from it, and then convert that to string and configure that to the, let's say, the mines label. And likewise for the other situation. But of course, remember, if I unflag something, which is this condition, mines must actually increase, right? So let's just again see this working so that we can get a basic sense of things in place, right? Now when I run this, I get this board. Let's say I flag some mines. Again, I'm just doing randomly. As I flag, they became 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and so on. But then I can unflag and take them back to wherever they were. So that's exactly what we wanted. Let's see if something. Okay, so I was very unlucky. Let's say I go back to the beginning. And let's say I click on this. Now clearly this is a mine. So, and I've got 9 more to do. This is clearly a mine. This is a mine as well. This is not. This is not. This is not. This is not. But, and so on and so forth, right? So I can keep playing this. You notice that the mines are getting flagged or unflagged, and the counter is changing accordingly. Remember, there is, however, one more condition, that if I click, let's say, if I were to select one of these cells as a mine to start with, once this field opens up, this has to be accounted for. Otherwise, this counter becomes inconsistent. The way we do that is I just get into my my function that opens up the whole mine field. Here, remember that I may encounter a situation where the text of a mine, a text of a cell is actually M. Now, if that is the case, basically what it means is that, look, previously this was flagged as a mine, but now I know this is not a mine, which means that I must go and increase the counter. So I'm going to just, take some code from here, essentially just this. So basically, just ask myself a question that, look, if the text on this particular, let's say, so if, let's say, buttons, are C and text is equal to M, so that's basically a mine. So that it means that a mine has been discovered. So I need to figure out, it's basically, it has been it's kind of effectively unflagged. So I'm going to have to increase this by 1. So this is very important. Otherwise, the whole counter becomes inconsistent, right? So let's just see this in action now. When I run this, let's say I just go and flag lots of cells, just kind of randomly. So clearly my mines, obviously it's kind of random, right? So it's become -4 and all that, whatever. But let's say now I try to open something up. Hopefully something will open up, which will, sort of eat up. Oh, okay, so I was unlucky. I happened to hit a bomb. Remember, the game rules are not changing because I'm marking the mines. when I, let's say, so I try to mark, let's say, several cells in the center as mines. Hopefully some of these will open up once we start clicking. So I'll click some of these. Okay, so hopefully I don't run out of luck this time. Okay, you notice that, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mines marked there. That's why it's showing 10 over here. Let's see if something else also opens up. So this is definitely a mine. In fact, this is also mine, but this is not. So I can unflag this so that again I'm back to 10. Hopefully something more will open up. All right. So this is saying 9. This M was converted to a 1. And you notice that the number there increased, right? So it's very consistent now. If something, okay, so if something opens up, you notice the mines are taken care. So every time, if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mines flagged here and 2 are showing here. So it is logical, right? However, obviously some of these are not entirely correct. So this is a mine. This is a mine, fair enough. But let's say, I think this is also a mine, which means this is not a mine. Oh, I got it wrong. In fact, these three had been flagged wrongly. So you get the idea that mines, once they have been uncovered in the open up process, will be sort of reversed back from the counter. Now there's one more thing to be built, which is also important, that once I reset this, let's say use the reset button to reset the mines, the counter must go back to n mines, and we can do that also. Because remember, there is a function we have called reset boards. I can just search for that function, reset board. And all I need to do once I do all of this, I'll just go back and say that, look, the mines label dot say configure, and text is equal to, well, str n mines. So this will make sure that as the game starts, the label gets correctly formed, right? And we can see this in action again. So if I do this, let's say I try to play this, okay, so a lot of things opened up. Okay, but unfortunately lost. Let's say I reset the game. Notice the mines are 10. Let me flag a few mines so that we can see this more clearly. Let's say I click this. Okay, I click this. Okay, lots of things opened up. So I flag now again a few mines. This is not a mine. This is not a mine. This is not a mine. I flag this. This is not a mine. This is not a mine. So I've got notice 6 done. Let's say I want to restart this. Again, it goes back to 10. So basically, I've covered all the scenarios. Flagging and flagging, that changes the counter. Opening up changes the counter, and reset changes the counter in the ways that we have seen. I hope this was interesting to you. As always, building activities, thinking through them, enhancing them in a systematic manner is a great way to learn programming, and that is exactly what we do at YByte. Look at our website, www.ybyte.in, because we learn Python programming through such fun activities. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye bye.